So I find I am perfectly poised to lead a meditation led by the Spirit, because I looked up the readings and the psalm for today and meditated on these on and off for a few days, and then discovered I had the wrong ones. And then somehow, and then I found what I thought were the right ones. And this morning we've had different ones. And so we're perfectly poised for being led by the Spirit this morning. So let us enjoy the silence and the uncertainty, and connect once more with our breath, the presence of the divine within and without, the Spirit. So we lay our attention on the inhalation and the exhalation. Surrendering to Spirit. And if we find that our minds are wandering in any way, we just gently, without any judgment, bring our minds back to a gentle attention on the breath. And I'd like to introduce us or remind us of a breath pattern which we'll use throughout this meditation, that is working with the elements. In the Celtic tradition, Christ is called the King of the elements, the Lord of the elements. And that's a lovely realization that right here in our Christian tradition, our Christian tradition, the elements are in the service of the divine and of us. And so let's concentrate first on the element of earth. And let's breathe in and out through our nose. And as we do, feel our connectedness with earth, feel our rootedness in it. and feel the sustenance which we are given every day. And on the in-breath, let us take in gladly, with an open heart, an open mind, all that we are given. Just as Elijah, in faith and trust, was fed by the ravens in that beautiful story. And the woman, in sharing her tiny little bit, found she had plenty and abundance. So we too have abundance. And we are sustained every day. And at this point in the year, which is the autumn equinox, this midpoint in the autumn season, we look back and we look forward. Looking back, we can look back over the last year. And remember maybe one particular thing for which we are grateful, which when we think about it, it opens our heart and allows the abundance, that feeling of abundance and gladness to enter us. So think of one thing over this past year for which you feel grateful. It may be a thing. It may be a person or an event. Sometimes in our involvement with the summer, spring and the summer season, and our involvement in life generally, we don't even notice long enough to say thank you. So here is a chance to connect, to open, to say a prayer of thanks within ourselves. And now we move on to the element of water. And the breath pattern here is breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And one can imagine oneself standing underneath a lovely waterfall. And you may know of a gorgeous waterfall. Apparently the energy of waterfalls is love. Apparently, by somebody told me that is very connected to waterfalls. But however we experience waterfalls, imagine that lovely feeling of standing under a flow of water, which enters the crown of our head and washes down through our whole being as we breathe out, breathing in through the crown, out, right down through the whole being, washing and purifying and healing. And as we look back through the year so far, the burgeoning, flourishing days of spring and summer, despite the lockdown, indeed, there's been more flourishing and burgeoning in many ways. Our involvement in the world has caused, to some degree, sometimes wounding. We wound other people in our lack of concentration or hurry, and we get wounded. So you might like to think of one thing again, one situation, one event, one person by whom you feel wounded, or you have wounded them. And this is a chance for healing. Looking back as we are at this midpoint of the autumn, a great change in the season, in the cycle of the year. So one thing for which you need healing. And we think of Elijah's healing of the woman's son. And we think of Paul's healing of the boy who he inadvertently caused to fall asleep and to fall 3 floors. And at this equinox time, we can also look forward. And we're looking forward in the same way that nature is. We're allowing things to fall. We're passing from a state of fullness and involvement into a state of devolution instead of involution, devolution, letting go with the possibility of evolution, of allowing the entrance of spirit into us as we look right forward to the dark days of winter and the birthing of the new impulse at Christmas time. And the breath pattern of the element of fire we can use to help us here. And this is breathing in through the mouth and out through the nose. And we can imagine breathing in through the solar plexus, imagining a fire there, warming and heating, and then that element rising through its qualities to become light, radiating out from our hearts on the out breath through the nose. So in through the mouth, out through the nose. Feeling the ascending nature of fire through us, quickening us. And it takes courage to let go of any feeling of comfort that we might have about ourselves, our normal way of being. And we need passion. And these are fiery qualities, courage and passion. Passion for life. That fiery energy to fight the good fight, let's say. And we have an advocate who can help us, whose season we're moving into, which is that of the Archangel Michael. So as we breathe this fire breath, let us tune in to the being of the Archangel Michael. Who gives us that quality of protection and of courage, who fights alongside us as we endeavor to empty ourselves, to move toward winter, empty, ready to be filled anew at Christmas time. And we may be aware of one aspect of our own being which we struggle with, and which we would like help with. So take a moment now to think of that being an aspect of our ego or personality which gets in the way of us receiving love and receiving the Christ. Our doubts or lack of confidence or our arrogance or whatever it is. We've been practicing the Beatitudes this week, and the first one, blessed are the poor in spirit, for they shall see the kingdom. And there's also that lovely verse in the carol In the Bleak Midwinter, where the composer of the carol says, what shall I give, poor as I am? If I were a shepherd, I would give a lamb. If I were a wise man, I would play my part. What can I give? I can give my heart. So poverty, one of St. Francis' great virtues, which he extolled. Poverty, not necessarily of thing, but of person. So letting the leaves of our egos fall, like autumn leaves. And knowing that we have the advocate of the Archangel Michael with his sword of crystalline awareness. We might pray for courage, passion, and crystalline awareness. And the breath of the element air, breathing in and out through the mouth, having a taste of that freedom, that state of poverty in this sense. Breathing in and out through the mouth, feeling the breath, ourselves as breath, pure and clear. And I would like to read a Celtic prayer to the Archangel Michael. It's a combination of two prayers from the Carmina Gadelica, which is the collection of Gaelic beautiful prayers. Thou, Michael, the victorious, I make my circuit under thy shield. Thou, Michael of the white steed, under the bright, brilliant blades, conqueror of the dragon, be thou at my back, thou ranger of the heavens, thou warrior of the King of all. O Michael the victorious, my pride and my guide. O Michael the victorious, the glory of mine eye. O Michael of the angels and the righteous in heaven, shield thou my soul with the shade of thy wing. Shield thou my soul on earth and in heaven, from foes upon earth, from foes beneath earth, from foes in concealment. Protect and encircle my soul beneath thy wing, O my soul, with the shade of thy wing. So as we invoke the guidance and protection of the Archangel Michael at this coming time of Michaelmas, Michaelmas, let us feel within the gratitude, the abundance, the healing, the freedom. The space opening within us. The sacred space of the kingdom of heaven. And the presence of the Christ. May the blessing of Christ of the elements be with us. Lord of the elements, who gives us abundance of good things, who brings healing to us, who protects and guides us, who transforms us, and who frees us. Amen.